be careful with how your oil control rings are casted, and if they have these seams in them, I really don't know how to remedy that, but these are excessively extruded and I don't like it. So, OEM Mazda parts or bust. What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's video. This is a video that I really hate to have to make, but we learn stuff on this channel, including me, teaching you guys stuff. So, this is an engine, if you remember, that we rebuilt in the fully comprehensive, crazy, detailed rotary engine video. You would think we spent 56 minutes filming a video on it, that we'd have got it right the first time. But this engine's been rebuilt a couple times, using some aftermarket seals. We're having some issues. The guys installed the engine, waiting on parts, took them a while to get everything together. Got the engine installed a couple weeks ago, noticed some smoke. Pulled the fuel pump stuff, it was still running without the fuel pump plugged in. Ask me how that happens, I have no idea. But if you recall words, I had issues getting the oil control rings to fit. The oil control rings were not OEM Mazda ones, and they fit really tight. And with brand new oil control ring cases and brand new oil control ring springs, we had a couple issues. This one, I think, my guess, right, we always like to speculate at the beginning of the video, is that this has an oil control ring leak at some point in the front rotor. Now, I find it hard to believe that this engine used a quart of oil and 5 minutes of runtime, which is what I was told. But we're about to find out. My guess, like I said, oil control ring in the front. I reviewed my video. I edited the video. And I didn't ever find anything that went wrong whenever I assembled it. I have every single second of every engine build that I do here on video. Do it every time. That way I can go back and check my work and make sure that we're putting out good engines that aren't going to break. So, fortunately, we caught this before there's any crazy issues. Unfortunately, they had to take it back out of the car. So, I'm going to pull this thing apart. We're going to figure it out. And, like I said, sucks to have to take apart an engine that you rebuilt, but we're going to learn. We're going to make sure that this will never happen again. And since then, I've started building engines with only OEM Mazda soft seals because they fit properly. They're designed for this. Mazda has way more experience than everyone else building parts for their own engine. And despite saving a little bit of money, this is costing me money because I have to take it back apart. So, let's tear into it, see what we got. Alright guys, so I'm sure that went really quick for you. Pretty not that quick for me. 35 minutes or so. Alright, so the oil was coming out of the front rotor housing. That's where it was smoking. That's where we had excessive oil. Now, upon inspection of the front rotor's oil control rings, I did not find anything excessively wrong. Holy cow, I get dirty in the shop. Why don't you guys tell me about that? I just made it worse. Anyways, I didn't find anything wrong, cut, messed up, spun. Everything was lined up properly. So they had sent me videos that there was no oil in the intake manifold, that nothing was getting sucked in, so it definitely had to be coming from somewhere rotor related. I didn't see any issues. All the bearings look perfect. No issues there. So these oil control rings, one thing that I did notice is that there is a seam, which is going to be nearly impossible for me to show you this. But imagine you are casting something, right? So say you have a sand cast or a mold that is making a ball, right? You made snowballs with the little clamp things, right, when you were a kid. So let's say you make a snowball with the clamp thing. What happens at the seal between the two hemispheres of that snowball, right? You get some excessive, like, snow clamped between the two pieces of the mold. The only thing that I can think of is that on this one inner oil control ring, that like excess between the two molds seems to be sitting in the spot that would ride on the seal surface. Okay, it's gonna be really, I think it's gonna be nearly impossible for me to get that to focus or do whatever. Anyways, I can probably sketch it for you, but effectively, like the snowball, that seam is what's causing the issue, I believe. I'll draw it out. So you have your snowball, right? We'll call this the oil control ring. We'll call this the oil control ring housing right here, and the spring sits underneath it. This oil control ring's rubber, right? So you make it with your mold, right? Looks something like that. They probably have two sides, etc. At some point you have to fill that thing with rubber to make these oil control ring O-rings. Well, right along this casting line, we'll say, there's a seam that's sticking up. I'm going to exaggerate it, say a line like that, right, of excess rubber on the ends. And I think that is what is causing this oil control ring leak. Because there's the only way to remedy that is if, when you install these oil control rings, you make sure that that spot is not riding on the rotor's groove. It's like, there's really no way, which y'all can't even see what I'm doing, but there's no way to effectively manipulate. There's no way to effectively manipulate the oil control ring once it's in the seal. Like, I can't spin it to make sure that that doesn't stick up unless I can get it in there and rotate it after the fact, or you're just going to make sure you install them that way. But, like, I don't have any evidence of this being pinched. You know, like if you cut the oil control ring O-ring on the surface of the rotor or something. I'm going to cut my finger trying to get this out of here. There we go. So, I don't know if y'all will be able to see that. Probably not. Maybe if I rotate it. Okay, there you go. See the like part that glistens when I rotate it past? You can see a line like rotating around. That's that seam. And I think that that's what's causing this issue. Like, I can feel the seam when I run my thumb around the O-ring, okay? And like this O-ring, when I'm holding it, the seam wants to be on the outside, right? If I try to rotate it to where it's the other way, there's two sides of the seam. It just flips around 360. Like, there's no way to get this in there with that seam not where it is. And then because the seam is so extruded, that's causing an irregularity in the sealing surface, thus causing a leak, thus not my fault, which I'm stoked. Not because, like, if it was my fault, we would 100% accept the blame. That's no big deal if I cut the O-ring when I put it in or whatever. But it just irked me that, I've probably built 20 of these, and I've never had this issue before. I've used these O-rings before, and a lot of the times I've had issues like this. Like, coolant seals don't fit, aftermarket ones. They just don't fit worth the crap. The OEM ones fit the best. I haven't had issues with these O-rings before, but on any of the, this was the last build that I used these on because I couldn't make them fit. They just didn't fit into the rotor. And on the engine I built for Richard's car, the black one, boom, OEM Mazda seals right in, no issues, fit like a glove. So, and his car, we beat on it. It's got 2,000 miles on it, kicking the rods out of it at the gap. Or I guess not really 2,000 miles, probably 1,000 miles. But everything else inside this engine literally looks perfect. Apex seals, perfect. Apex seal corners, perfect. Side seals, perfect. There's no weird excessive wear. Doesn't look like the side seals are pushing too hard on the corner seals, so that tolerance is correct. The O-rings were not installed backwards. That's a very common thing to cause an oil control ring leak. When you get the actual spring, you put the wrong springs, or you build your rotors and put the rotors in backwards so they don't get locked in, and then they spin, and then they roach the O-rings in there. Bearings look fine. I mean, the thing only ran for 5 minutes or so. So my guess is that's the issue. Fortunately, I have a set of OEM oil control rings here. So we're going to go ahead and grab those. I'm going to replace these oil control rings in this engine. And then this engine will get, we'll clean it and we'll put it back together. So I don't really know where this video is going to fit in on the channel. You're probably going to see all this stuff tore apart in the back of the videos working on the RX-8 this week. Just because I kind of want to keep the relevance going of doing the improvements after the deal's gap trip and the things about the RX-8 I'm changing and this, that, and the other before the track day. Plus, we got to build this new REW. Plus, I got another REW coming to get built. So there's a good amount of like stuff happening, and I just wanted to film this whenever I took it apart. So with that, guys, I hope you guys learned something. I definitely learned something. Be careful with how your oil control rings are casted, and if they have these seams in them, I really don't know how to remedy that, but these are excessively extruded and I don't like it. So, OEM Mazda parts or bust. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys very much for watching. Keep it rad. Comment below with any questions on this stuff. And if you have any detailed questions, things about your build, things you want to make sure you can get in touch with me directly, definitely go check out the Patreon. I film videos to answer the people's questions over there. And it's a really neat little community, little access into my brain. Any question you got, I can research it, figure out the answer, and get you guys on your way. So with that, guys, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace. The video before the end of the video, summarizing everything. I got the new oil control rings to go together. These are OEM Mazda oil control O-rings. Now, y'all might be able to see it. Y'all might not be able to see it. But there really is not a seam to be found on these, okay? Nothing you catch your finger on. These oil control rings are dead smooth. No seam. These aftermarket ones, heavy seam. See if I can just put it together like this. You might be able to just see them. See that rough spot in the middle of the black O-ring there? Trying to wiggle it, maybe you can see it in the light. I can't see what you're seeing, but now notice on the green one, there isn't one. There's a very faint line, but it's definitely not extruded from the surface of the seal. So that is what I think caused the issue. Like I said earlier in the video, I can't find, I'm inspecting all this stuff again because I'm getting ready to assemble the rotors and assemble the engine. I can't find any other defects in any of the oil control O-rings. I can't find that they've been cut. I can't find that they've been nicked. Sometimes when you have them in here and you push this down into the rotor and it's protruding from this edge, they can get cut on the side of the rotor. I can't find anything. Literally can't. So as long as, you know, with this engine, the smoke, whatever that was coming from it, the intake manifold, no evidence of oil coming in. The exhaust had evidence of oil coming out. This has to be where the oil is coming from. Upon visual inspection and looking over all the irons and everything and dowels, there's no broken anything. The E-shaft looks fine, so that's what it has to be. So I'm not one to, you know, disclose or hate on any brands or do anything like that. This could very well just be an anomaly. But what I will say is that I generally have good luck, and most people do as well, with the OEM Mazda parts. Mazda spent a lot of time developing these engines. They created the engine. They probably sell the best parts for that engine, or at least the most consistent, right? And that if you want to build something reliable that works, Mazda was confident enough to put these engines in cars that they sold with warranties and stuff. So I'm just going to keep using Mazda stuff from now on. These are, the green ones, are a little bit more expensive than the black ones. So with that, guys, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys learned something. Like I said, like I always say on this channel, or like I always want to say to you guys, there's nothing we're going to hide from anybody here. And albeit that this sucks and I could have buried this under the rug and not let you know that I rebuilt an engine that I had just rebuilt, but we learned something from this. And you guys ought to know what I know and what I learned. So thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Keep it rad. We'll refilm the dog outro because I interrupted the last one. What's up, Letty? Did you get that chipmunk? Was he still in that tree? Did you get him down? You didn't get him down because dogs can't climb trees. At least my dog can't. You like OEM Mazda parts? I like OEM Mazda parts. Beautiful day in Tennessee. Peace, guys.